All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, getting into some really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
All about freedom from fear.
Freedom from fear, that's right.
And we've got some notes here by Ron W Rathbun. You familiar with him?
Oh, yeah, Rathbun's great. He's done a lot of work on personal development, right? Really insightful.
Yeah, he's considered a real thought leader in this space. And
Yeah.
and from what I've read so far, his approach to fear is pretty unique.
I think you're going to find it quite refreshing, yeah.
Yeah, he's saying that, like, the key to overcoming fear, it's not necessarily about, like, fighting it head on, but more about understanding how we get trapped by it.
Right.
Both inside ourselves and out there in the world.
Yeah, internally and externally, yeah.
So let's get into it. What really struck me is this idea of detachment as being like the purest path to freedom from fear.
Yeah, that's like the core concept.
Now, when he says detachment, we're not talking about ignoring fear.
Yeah.
Or pretending it doesn't exist.
Exactly. It's more about where you understand the mechanisms, the way it works.
So detachment's the key. But honestly, it feels kind of abstract.
Sure.
Like, how do we actually detach? Fear is so, like, real, so powerful.
It is, and Rathbun actually uses this this visual. I think it's really helpful. He talks about these things called fear compartments.
Oh.
He says fear kind of lives in these compartments,
Okay.
both within us,
Yeah.
in our thoughts, our anxieties, all that kind of inner chatter,
Right, right.
and then also out there in the external world,
Yeah. Yeah.
scary situations, other people's opinions, things we worry could go wrong.
Oh, so it's like we're surrounded by these areas of fear internally,
Right.
externally.
Yeah.
This is making it sound even harder to detach.
But here's the thing. He suggests that we often get stuck fearing the fear itself, not the actual situation. Like we get caught in this loop
Oh, yeah.
of what if this happens? How will I handle it? What will people think?
Right, yeah.
Detachment is about breaking free from that loop.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, I get way more scared of being embarrassed on stage than I do of actually like forgetting my lines.
Absolutely. And that's where his statement, you have to detach, becomes so powerful because he's challenging this idea that we can just think our way out of fear, right?
Right.
It's more about recognizing it's a natural human response,
Yeah.
but we don't have to be ruled by it.
Okay, so this idea of detaching from fear, is it different from just like suppressing
That's a great question.
or ignoring our feelings?
Yeah, because, some people might say, hey, you need to face your fears head on.
Right.
You got to go right at them.
Right, yeah.
But Rathbun's not advocating for that, like ignoring our emotions. It's more about shifting our relationship with them.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're terrified of public speaking. Detachment isn't about pretending you're not nervous.
Right.
It's about going, okay, I'm nervous. Like, you acknowledge the nerves, but then you focus on delivering your message regardless.
Okay.
You're not trapped by the fear.
Yeah.
You're choosing to move forward despite it. It's a subtle but important difference.
I like that, like acknowledging it.
Yeah.
So it's not denying it. It's observing it from a distance.
From distance, yeah.
Like, it's almost like fear is this wave, right? Like,
Yes.
you can't stop it from coming, but you can learn to, like, ride it out instead of getting, like, pulled under.
Perfect analogy.
And then Rathbun takes it even further.
He does.
He actually links specific fears to our ego and
Yes.
intellect.
He says the ego hates appearing weak, while the intellect is terrified of looking stupid.
I mean, this is so relatable.
Right.
Who hasn't felt that fear of, like, not measuring up
Yeah.
personally or intellectually?
Absolutely.
It's like so many of our anxieties, they come from that place of wanting to protect our image.
Yes.
Or like avoid feeling inadequate.
You're hitting the nail on the head. And that's why I think it's so useful to recognize these kind of common sources of fear,
Right.
We can pinpoint where we might be getting caught in those compartments, those fear compartments.
And that helps us kind of take that step back
Exactly.
and detach.
Right.
But how do we actually like practically get to that point of detachment?
Well, that's where Rathbun gets really, really interesting. He says, the mind can only learn to detach from fear when it's not afraid of fear itself. It's about detaching from fear.
Yep.
Not as this terrifying monster, but as just like a natural part of being human.
Well,
we need to understand it
right.
instead of letting it control that inner monologue.
So it's almost like we're detaching from fear instead of being enemies with it.
Absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
okay, fear, I see you.
And I see you.
But I'm not going to let you call the shots here.
Precisely. And that's the core of detachment.
Yeah.
It's not letting fear dictate your actions. And Rathbun, he sums it up beautifully. Only when you are truly detached from fear itself can you be free from it.
Man, That is so powerful.
Isn't it?
He's really like flipping the script on how we think about and handle fear.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Rathbun's work, I want to leave you with a question.
Okay.
Think of one fear compartment in your own life. Is it internal, something you're thinking, something you're feeling? Or is it external, a specific situation you're facing?
Yeah.
How might understanding those fear mechanics and applying Rathbun's ideas of detachment, how might that help you approach that fear differently? Just something to think about.
Yeah, food for thought.
Until next time, keep exploring.